Welcome back to our, usually we do monthly review. This time, it's been a few weeks scheduling and stuff with our jobs and summertime vacations. But yeah, this is going to be our July monthly review. This is going to be shorter than we usually do, which is totally fine. But I want to tell everyone right now, please like, subscribe, Instagram, Facebook, follow us on YouTube, give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, and also on Spotify. It helps us out a lot in the matrix of whatever the heck's happening out there that we have no control over. But anyways,
yeah.
Excuse me.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back. We almost have everybody here today. We look at beautiful Sam.
Hey.
What's up, now?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, how you doing? Hey, how's it going, Sam?
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, and then
You look great.
we got Jordan here. My man, dude. And also, we're going to give a shout out to Evan.
Evan.
We love you, dude. We'll see you next time.
Next time.
Yes,
Next
sir.
time, dude.
Yes, sir.
But anyways, I really want to talk about here. We always kind of come together with stuff. There's a few things. There's a lot going on, of course, around the world, like usual. I don't think there has been a month that's gone by where there has been something gnarly going on either in the U.S. or around the world. But at least I know in my life recently, I've had a little bit of loss, and there's been a lot going on. And the more people I talk to, there's a lot of people struggling right now and going through a lot of difficult things, and especially in our job field. Unfortunately, like in a local fire department, I don't want to say the name, but there has been suicide, unfortunately, and even in some police officers, and also just the U.S. as a whole. I don't know the whole world, but looking at statistics, I think we looked at before we started, guys, but I know last year in 22, it went up quite considerable amount. I think it was said for every 100,000 people, like 14 kill themselves.
And over the course of the year, it's a lot. It's a huge increase.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very huge increase. So I kind of want to talk about that. I think we're all very open on here about our lives and the things that we go through, and we're very raw. And I think that's why it helps this podcast and people listen to it and download. But I know for me, when I go through difficult times, it is definitely very, very hard to find hope, or people say light at the end of the tunnel, especially when you have someone die in your life or you lose a job. You losing a job means, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to feed my family? Losing a home. Everyone's struggles are different, and it may not be a big deal for, say, me or for you or somebody else, but for them in their life, it's a big deal, and it should be taken serious, And so I want to kind of go, I was like, hey, let's just talk about this a little bit. Because the more I've opened up to people this past couple of weeks, the more I realize, oh my gosh, dang, everyone's going through some stuff. I know, Sam, you've been doing stuff with your family, and Jordan, you have stuff going on. It's like, oh my gosh, hold on here. Let's be real. I want people to know, just because we have a podcast and we're doing this doesn't mean we don't have struggles and difficulties in life. And it's a rough one. It can be very rough. And I know for me, I always say to people, I'm definitely a prodigal son. If people don't understand what that is someone who is, I guess in the Christian faith, or a believer who walks away from it. Definitely me. I definitely walked away. I was like, I don't want any part of this. I don't want to do it anymore for whatever reasons. I don't want to go too deep into it, but I felt burned over by quite a few things, especially being involved with church. But then I did life on my own, and I was like, I'm going to do it my way. Man, that didn't work out so well.
Yep.
I was just like, wait a minute. Maybe they're kind of right, like we've talked about in here a few times. And, for me, dealing with loss and losing someone that you love, it's really interesting because it's very permanent. Death is permanent, and there's no coming back from that, right? It's really weird. Like, I remember when my brother passed, there is no, at least I can maybe say goodbye. It's like, he's in a car accident, he's passed away, it's over. God. And you're just like, whoa. Like, dang, dude, what the heck happened? And I don't know if you guys saw it too, Matt from the Dirty Deuce. He came down this past week, and he was hanging out with family. They were celebrating, I believe it was a 5-year anniversary of his brother passing too from his death. And he was down there camping near San Clemente, and I was already going to go down and surf anyways at churches. And I just met up with him, like, hey, dude, I'm going to bring a surfboard. Just come in the water with me, dude. And let's just have fun. And being out in the water, doing an evening session in the sunset, is beautiful. And for me, I always say this, the ocean is very healing. I've learned that from a young age from my dad. Good times, I'll go to the beach, and the bad times I go to the beach. And somehow the ocean, being, your feet grounded in the sand, paddling through the water, catching waves. And, in those moments, you have to focus so much in order to ride a wave and time it and have fun. But you almost forget what's going on. And in those, how long is a ride, Jordan? Like 15 seconds.
I mean, on a good day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they're not long, right? So it's short, but you're feeling that smile come back, that happiness and that joy. You still feel that pain, but it's so healing. I remember this past week getting done and we got out of the water and we hugged each other. And I just said, man, like, thank you for being willing to come out and surf. And he said, no, thanks for bringing the board and coming. And I told him, this is huge for me because right now we're sharing in our pain. You're celebrating your brother. I lost somebody, and it's beautiful that you can do that with someone. Mm-hmm. That you can be raw and open with them, and there's that different understanding of knowing, hey, it's a different, different families, different people were lost. It may have been some time ago, yours may be recent, but we're doing this together, and we left that day smiling, hugging each other, took some pictures, whatever, posted on Instagram, and man, and he even texted me like, dude, I needed that. This is what I needed, and we talked about hope. And what hope does and how that can push you forward through some of the darkest times in your life. At least for me, there have been a few times stepping away from my faith. And when I say faith, I'm telling you guys right now, I am not a preacher, okay? I'm not one who goes to church all the time, but I do believe in my Creator. And I think he's a higher power that is watching over me. And I believe it 100% because there's multiple times in my life I should be gone or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, it's amazing that you can be in the most pain and tears and crying. But for me, it's like, this sucks. And my prayers are a lot more grittier than most. And I'll tell them exactly how I feel. Mm-hmm. I'm pissed right now. And some people might get weird about this, but there's multiple times in my prayers I will cuss. I'm pissed. I'm going to let you know I'm mad right now. I don't like what's happening. But I'm going to trust you. Mm-hmm. I'm going to hold out hope here because you said you take care of your people. And that something better is going to come. And that learning or something more powerful is going to happen from this moment, either changing your life or helping you grow so you can help somebody else that's in that situation, And even talking to you this week, Sam, you called me and it was awesome just talking with you and just being open and how you said, like, dude, I just dropped the phone. You're on the phone call with somebody and you're like, nah, dude, like, I got to talk to my boy.
I got to go.
Yeah, I got to go. But having people in your life that you can 100% trust with the good and the bad and the ugly, and telling them, like, I'm fucked up right now. This hurts. This is very hard. But even Jordan, but both of you guys talk with you like, hey man, this is where I've been. This is what I'm going through with my family. This is where, I've dealt with certain things. It does get better. Hold out hope, be with your family, love them. There's no way around it. It's going to hurt. But for a lot of people, even the firefighter, police personnel, anyone listening to this podcast right now that either made a bad decision or they're going through a hard time that's either by their choice or just happened by circumstance or life just sucks because it just sucks at times. I tell people, I don't care who you are. You can be the richest person in the world. Life's a bitch.
Yep.
There's things that are going to happen that are going to hurt, dude. And that's why some people, they always think like success and money is the answer. And I'll tell you right now, I've had success. I've done well for myself. I've had a lot of money. I've not had a lot of money. And guess what? I've had the same freaking problems.
Yep, because you're human.
Yeah.
Right, dude.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things that we forget is that we need, I just came up with this too, 3 C's: communication, community, and connections. And I think that is how you mitigate. I don't know. I was like, oh, that's a C. That's a C.
Dude. Yeah. Great. Okay. No. Keep going.
Thank you, bro. Because I'm just thinking the way that you can't stop the pain, but being human, we have this universal connection, which is pain. Everybody feels pain. We feel it. Some people feel it more than others, but I think being able to connect and understand, like, hey, I'm vulnerable and this is what I'm feeling right now. And, the person across from you says, well, wow, I'm feeling something similar. I don't know what it is, but I have a loss and it may be in a different, realm of understanding, but it's still a loss. There's something missing. There's a void that's there, and I think connecting with, the people around you, with your friends, I think that is so, so important because of that vulnerability. And something that's really ironic that I've heard is that social media has almost pulled us back from that, right? It's almost like now that we have, it's I think it's twofold. Social media has pulled us back from connecting with the people that are around us, 1, and then 2, because we have social media, we have the ability to see all these terrible things going on in the world. And then we're thinking, oh my God, the world sucks. Like, what am I going to do? And it's like, well, if you bring it close to home, really think about, what if we connected with the people that are the closest to us, the people across from us, our friends, our families that are right here in our own town, right here in our own circle. Let's connect on more of a local level, and see that, things are getting better. Yes, they're bad. Things are up there. There's always a cycle with everything,
right?
But I think social media, that twofold is you see you're able to connect with people, which is dope. That's what social media is for. But then you see this bad going on and these things everywhere, and you're like, oh my God, my life sucks. And then I think you pull back from then connecting because you don't want to see that, right. And then you stop connecting with the people across from you. Like when you texted us, I was like, wow, like this is it didn't come through Snapchat or Instagram or anything. It was a text. Mm-hmm. And I'm so big on text. Like I don't go on Instagram as much. But when I saw the text, I was like, what? No, I told everybody I gotta go. And I went outside, dude. Yeah. And it hit me. Yeah. And instantly it's almost like that feeling that you get before you cry. Mm-hmm. You tingle. And I felt that instantly. I was like, oh God. I'm feeling it right now. And, so I think being able to do that with the people that you love is essential, because it's hard to do that with social media, but being able to do that just on the phone, it's so important.
Yeah, oh my God, there's so many things to unpack here. Sorry, you guys are running. I'm like trying to think like, where can I jump on that? Yeah, like what you said about community, right? And the 3 C's, I really like that. Yeah, man. But the communal effort part of it and talking about social media, connectivity, how we communicate with each other, and parlaying this into the hope and, kind of some of the statistical numbers with increased suicide and all that stuff. There's so many different things of positives and negatives that we have to rifle through every single day, right? And just understanding, going back to what you said, we're human. That's why, it doesn't matter if you make a lot of money or you're successful or whatever. That could, that's a facade at certain points, because different things affect us all differently, whether the different types of loss or failure or things within that, and it's one of those things where, one, I think the three of us, and I know, Evan, you're not here, but
love you, buddy.
But the one thing that we have that's unique is that we do have a sense of community in this. Yeah. Right. And that puts us in a very fortunate position, because it's not just like we're, people just go on these social media platforms and it's hard, if you have a problem and you let's say you're reaching out publicly, right? Which is kind of a real dicey situation anyway. But, I think that it stymies people from reaching out publicly, because if, let's say, they are struggling with certain things, you have the ramifications that come with that, right? Where there's people either talking down negatively to you or judging you.
Yep. Terrible.
Because that's what we all do.
Oh yeah,
it's what everyone does, and I don't care who you are. When you read things, see things, whatever, it's not like it's like, 'cause sometimes you can go, oh, someone's posting something and they're having a bad time. Are they doing it because they're just trying to get attention, or are they really seriously struggling? Why do I even have that thought process?
I think it's because you have to put it in a bucket.
No,
right?
I know. Yeah. I just mean like if I see someone, that post something, I'm like, oh, that's kind of a stretch. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Are you doing it for attention, or are they really struggling?
Oh yeah, like putting on social media, right?
Yeah. And then the other half of me goes, why are you even thinking that? Like, who am I to say that someone's not having, like, this is their outcry. And what a dick am I if I'm shitting on someone who's having a bad day, whether it is for attention or maybe they're really going through something, and I feel like that's probably not an uncommon thought process, but that's where we're at. So when I like what you said, Sam, when you're talking about how the text messaging, the phone calls, if we're struggling with something, and like Tim, you reach out, we talk. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or if you need something, we'll talk about it, right? And that's so important in the process of dealing with, failure, loss, what have you. And it's a unique position that we can all have that not a lot of people have that, or maybe have that at certain levels, right? So it's kind of like going back to what you're talking about with hope. Mm-hmm. What is that? What is hope to people? Well, I could give you my explanation of it, or maybe what I think that it should be, and it maybe varies from you guys, or maybe we're all on the same page within it. But when we're seeing like these numbers, when we're talking about suicides and other things like that, it's such a sad thing to really think about, because it's like, one, there's always going to be one-offs, always. But and it's like, what were the numbers? We said it was like up 30% or something for the last 20 years. I'm sure this whole, pandemic that dealt with obviously boosted a lot of those numbers because of different things. But now it's like, I was trying to find this last year, right? And it was still, the numbers are kind of high, and it's like, you're not going to save everybody. But I feel like as a country, or as just humans in general, like we need to be a little bit more open with the fact that not everyone lives the same lives that we do, and even in that, still people struggle. So it's having that open form of communication, whether it is, if you're going to punt it out there to the internet, there are some good people out there, and just like there are some really shitty people who handle things and thinking everything's super negative, so it's like, finding those situations like Tim, you're describing with the beach.
Yeah.
Having those outlets, and maybe the beach isn't for everybody.
Right.
I would tend to lean that that's my ultimate reset, because when you're out there, all those things you listed, you kind of check out. The things that you're thinking about are important. Why? Because like you're trying to catch the next wave, you're trying to stay focused, you're trying to be able to stand up, pick your ride, see, kind of envision what you're doing as you're doing it. And those situations take you away. So finding that, I would say, to help bolster the feeling of hope is having those things to fall back on, whether that's, reading a book, whether that's writing, whether drawing pictures, getting outside in nature, or just giving yourself 5 minutes every morning to like take a deep breath and tell yourself that this is what you're going to do today, and I'm guilty of not doing a lot of those things when I should, because life is a lot sometimes, and but you have to really fall back on those things. Now that could be something as simple as going outside and walking around for 5 minutes, or it's waking up in the morning and praying, and I'm a terrible example of that, because I feel like I say a lot of things that I wish that I could follow through on.
And that's same, bro.
And that's one of them. That's one of them, because I find myself in the situation like you're talking about most of the times, that when I am praying, I'm angry because something either bad happened, or maybe something didn't go the way that I thought it was going to, and puts extra pressure in certain situations. And it's like, why is my relationship with God sometimes through prayer, at least a lot of the time, seems to be an aggressive one?
I wonder if the reason for that is because it's not done enough.
100, right? Absolutely.
Right. Because when you're communicating and it's through anger, that means that there's a lack of communication. It's like, well, God, why are you doing it? I mean, where have you been, bro? Like, you're just coming at me now? I've been here.
Yeah. If there's like a, I always kind of envision it as like an old school, like, when you'd call and then you have, I forget the name of the person, but they're plugging you into the operator, right? So if there's an operator system in heaven, they're just like, dude, he's back again and he's angry. He's so angry. Something didn't work out his way. He's pissed. Here you go.
Yeah, Jordan, please hold.
Yeah. I feel like I get a lot of please holds, but then I also feel like that's for a reason too. Yeah. And to go into, and you said it exactly. It's because it's not enough. Yeah. The open community. And I'm not saying that everyone has to be religious. I just mean that when you're choosing to go down that route of prayer, and it's always in reflection of something that didn't go your way. It's not like, where were you on the days of like, I had a fantastic day. Thank you so much for my life, my family, my work, my everything.
Yes.
I miss a lot of those days.
Yes.
I miss a lot of them. And I feel like, actually just talking this out loud, I really need to focus on that a little bit more, I think, to help this balance,
Dude, it's with, because it's, I think we've seen this through the journal that we all have.
Oh, yeah.
Gratitude.
Man.
Gratitude is the base, bro. It's the base of everything. So when we start with gratitude, then we have, that base is solidified. Yeah. And then we can just, live our lives. And yeah, of course, we're going to have the occasional, God, or we look at people and we have these outbreaks, but we still have that base of gratitude. And I think we all do. We generally do, because the way that we communicate, we'd be going crazy if we didn't. And I think, I think,
how's your day?
Bro, I think hope starts from there,
Oh, that's a good point. That's
right? So when you can come to us and we can come to each other and say, hey, this is really bothering me and I don't know what to do. I feel like the ability to do that started from gratitude. Otherwise we would just sit in ourselves and be like, oh my God. And we may be one of those statistics, one of these crazy statistics, bro. So.
Yeah. You bring a really good point. I remember texting you guys this past week, and I'm trying to get emotional now, but I remember, being so bummed and so hurt and just like, yo, what is going on? But I, in my own life and in my own faith, and this is, again, when I say this, this is not to tell people, hey, you need to become a Christian or a believer, whatever you want to call it. That's not for everybody, and that's fine. I'm never going to force some people, but if you want to talk about it, I'm here. It's cool. But I know for my own life, how much it's worked, like 100%. But I remember I was in my car and I pulled up to my house and I just, put it in park and just sat there for a second. And I do these little Bible studies every morning off my phone and all that stuff. And it's on like the Bible app or whatever. They're really cool. They're like 5 minutes. I love it. It's just like, boom, get your day started the right way and get out of here. But Jordan, you brought it up too. It's like I reflected and I thought about every time that I really dig down deep in my faith, it's because something bad is happening. And I've been trying to do better in my faith and change my thought process. And one of those things I read, it's about rejoicing in the good, but being able to rejoice in the bad. Now that is a bitch. I'm going to tell you that firsthand. That is very hard. I remember sitting there in my car and I kind of started crying and broke down a little bit. And I just said this on my own prayer to myself. And I was just like, look, dude, it's in your hands. There's nothing I can do about this, but I choose to give thanks. I'm still going to rejoice because you're going to make a way and something good is going to come from this. I know it. But this is so hard. This is so difficult. How do I keep hope alive? How do I keep hope with my loved ones who are impacted by this? How do we navigate this? How do we, how do we sleep tonight? How do we, for me, when I go through hard times, I freaking don't eat.
Yep.
I get real skinny, but I don't know, for me, man, to be real with people on here, it brings a peace that does surpass all understanding that you can't explain. You're just like, I don't know.
Right.
I have no clue, but I know what he says. He's near the hurting. Two or more are gathered, he's there. He knows your pain. He wants you to give it to him. So it's like, all right, bro, I'm gonna fucking give this to you right now because I'm pissed and I'm hurt, but you got to do something, please.
Yeah.
Like, help. I don't know what to do because I think, at least in the career field that we're in, Jordan and I, we're used to being fixers.
Yep.
We're problem solvers, right? Someone calls us, we're there to fix the day, right? Even if we don't know what's going on, you fake it, right? Fake it. I hate to say it, but you figure it out. You're just like, let's get him in the ambulance and go. And you look at your buddy like, hey, dude, like, what's going on? Like, let's just get him to the hospital as quick as we can, Or, it just is what it is. But people look to you, right?
Yeah.
But what happens to the people who are the rescuers that need rescuing?
Exactly.
Right? And that's where I think a lot of firefighters or first responders, people in the military, we're so used to serving. But who's going to serve us?
Right.
How do I find help for myself? And for me, that's been through therapy. That's been creating a good connection with you guys and the people close to me. And I say close, people need to be very careful who you share information with. And that's not a joke because not everyone is looking out for your best interests. Straight up. A lot of people love drama. They want to talk trash about you and judge you because it's also because they got their own stuff going on. And now they have to think about, oh, look how bad what they're doing, right? So if you can find those people, please, like, you have to have community. We're built for community. And that was something I read in an article. It's saying in the last, I think it was 5 years, the people who have a friend from teenage years or childhood years, that was like, I can't remember. It's down to like
It's crazy.
Yeah, the percentage went super down where it's like they have these friends, like 1 to 3 friends for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's down to 1 friend for like 3 years, and that's it.
And then the older we get, we don't have those.
Yeah. And then it was a super low percentage of people who've had a friend for 15 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look at my life, and I've been able to keep connections with people, but that's me reaching out. I love reaching out and talking with people. You guys know that.
Yeah.
But having that community is so important, and that you can break down and cry with people and show them your heart, the true person of who you are, not put a facade on, not this Facebook or Instagram stuff where you're only putting out the best of your life. That is the most fake shit you'll ever see in your entire life.
Yep.
So I want to tell people, don't believe what you see on Instagram.
Right.
And for me, I would say I have the social media probably because it's podcast mainly. I keep it up, but I don't put my private life on there. It's no one's freaking business. No one needs to know. I don't like that. Nope. Like, your private life is private. They say that for a reason. You want to protect it because people, you don't want having outside voices coming in and people saying wild stuff,
Yeah.
But having that community and being able to talk, but not only that, but having the community, but also for me, it's having my own faith again. That has brought a strength to me in difficult times that I can't explain, and hope. Hope is a hell of a thing because I've been in places mentally and through circumstances and loss where you feel like you got nothing left. I told this to somebody, success is great, man. It's cool. It's great to have a lot of money, homes, be able to vacation, but you can't take that stuff with you when you die. We're all on a time limit here.
Yep.
I want to say that all often to people, like, you realize none of us are making it off this earth alive, right? You have a beginning date and you have an end date. When that is, who knows? I don't know. But what you do in the middle, right, with that dash is what's really important. So it's like, how are you spending your time?
Right.
Are you really going to impact others' lives? How are you handling those stressful times in your life? I can tell you right now, I've messed up terribly going through difficult times and making bad decisions because you're like reaching for everything, right? You're trying to find happiness and hope or whatever in the wrong things, dude. And it will take you down a path that you never thought you would go. And I look back on my life and there's times, and I talk with my therapist all the time, I still look back and I have regret. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I handled that situation that way. Or why did I cling to this? Or why did I go to that? There's no amount of sex. There's no amount of freaking money that's going to fill that hole and that void that's inside your chest and your heart. There's nothing. And for me, what's filled that void and helped with pain and moving on is my faith. And that hope, why I wanted to bring it up is hope will take you so far. Is that no matter how bad it gets, no matter how much it hurts, whether you go through divorce, loss of a child, a family member dying, your family passing away, a parent, loss of a job. For me, I've learned it's like, okay, I don't think things happen by accident. Actually, I know things don't happen by accident. There's a plan for everyone's life, but it's up to us to figure that out. And I read something really good the other day. It's pretty cool. It's like we pray for the storm to go away, but you don't realize God is just waiting for you to look for him in that storm so he can take you to the next thing that you're supposed to do. That's hard though. I'm gonna be really, 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 that is a son of a bitch because you're just like, yo, why is this happening to me? What is going on right now? But then the more I open up to people and talk with them, and I've had, firefighters from different agencies or even at work, they kind of listen to the podcast and I was like, hey dude, I heard you talk about this. Like, I went through this and I made this bad decision. I was addicted to this and therapy and you start connecting with people and you're realizing, okay, I'm not alone in this pain here. And and again, I want to bring up sharing in your pain with someone is healing in its own way. And I've learned that in those hard times, beauty can come from ashes. Sometimes things need to be burned down in your life and be taken away for you to realize something better is coming and it's prepping you for it. But when you're in that moment, man, you don't think it, you don't see it, you don't feel it.
But I think that all those things that's normal. Like when the moment of dealing with the hardships is a normal, because when it's happening to you, it's really hard to be rational.
Absolutely.
And it's really hard to, because it's specific, it's to you, it's impacting you directly in the moment. So, the only reason why I'm saying that is because it's like, when we talk a lot about hope and optimism and things like that, it's hard, I think, for people, like especially if you happen to be listening to this and you're going through something personally. I mean, when I do it, I get very selfish. You know, I'm
Same.
very much like,
Oh, yeah.
you don't know, you start pointing fingers and blaming everything on the world. And even if it's out of your control, you know, and it's hard to be in that mental state until you, like you said, you talk to people, because then those are when the perspectives start changing, right? Because it's like, you don't know what someone else is dealing with. And to you, that may be more or less, depending on whatever your thought process is. But the reality is, to that person, it's the hardest thing they're going through in the moment, you know? And I feel like when you do that, that's when the rationalization starts. You know, whether you're getting it from friends, from strangers, from a therapist, from, you know, whatever it is, that trigger mechanism, that when you hear something that resonates with you, that's, I think, when the healing process starts, like truly. And you're not going to get that if you don't take the, you know, the chance at throwing it out there, being a little bit, and I'm not saying that look, people are going to people, right? Not everyone's an open book. People, you know, do things differently or handle stuff differently. But it's something as simple as, like, you know, whether you're the affected one, reach out. Or if you're not the affected one, you hear something, maybe just saying something like, hey, it's going to be okay. You know, or, hey, dude, if you want to talk, you know, or, hey, not, you don't say dude, that's just how I talk. But, you know, like being that for somebody else. And there's a couple things I wanted to say real quick. The fake it till you make it. It's called creative optimism.
Creative optimism.
All right.
There you go.
So we're not faking anything. We're just trying to be creative in a position that we may don't know the answer, but we're trying to get to a good thing.
That's better words.
All
I
right.
like that.
The other one, great name for a podcast, called The Dash. The Dash is the timeline. So I think that would be super
That'd
sick.
be really good. Dude.
And what was the last thing? Oh, man. I just think, like, at the end of the day, you know, everyone's process is going to be different. Everyone, you know, we're not all going to experience the same things as each other, and we're not all going to be able to handle the things like maybe we all think we are going to in the time part. And I feel like that's what hits me always the hardest, is that I have a thought of how I will handle things specifically that happen in my life. And the thing that bums me out the most is that I miss the mark constantly. I constantly don't handle things the way that I, you know, envision them going in my head, you know, or if you said, hey, you know, come up with a circumstance. Oh, this is exactly how I would handle it. And I'm a very confident person in that way. You know, like, I think, not like a machismo thing, but I feel like I think that I know how to get through most situations. And I think what hurts me the most is that when it happens and I do not follow the game plan in my head and I get an outcome that I may not like, and then I go back to reflect on it, and it's like, why?
Yes.
Why did you not do this?
Yes.
How come you said what you said? Why did those words even come out of your mouth, or feelings or remarks or actions? You know what I mean?
Well, it's like you said, when you're in that moment, you almost can't think rational.
Right.
Yeah, it sucks.
I've been there, dude. Multiple times. Yeah, dude, you're just like,
it's not cool at all.
But that's a solid point. I mean, and God, you said something. Yes, you need people you can talk to because you get that perspective, and that's what helped me. The perspective from you guys, like, and people open up. Hey, look, here's where I've been, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, so I'm not alone in this.
Yeah,
it's like, whoa,
it's crazy.
Whoa, like, okay, well, how'd you handle it? You know, and then you say, oh, well, I did this, and here's what went wrong here. You know, and yeah, it's God, man, I sometimes I want to look at people and just be like, dude, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all you need to hear.
Right.
Like, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
You got to get that freaking flow into your head. Like, okay, it's gonna be okay.
Right. It just kind of pushes it in that direction.
Yeah. Just
it doesn't change anything. You're not going to change how you feel in that very moment.
No.
But it's like the little catalyst that gets the ball rolling in that direction.
Yeah, and I think it sits, right?
Yeah.
It does stay. I just really quick want to say, I say this all the time. I said it here. James said it so well, and I love this verse. Count it all joy when you face trials.
Let's go.
Because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. The only way that you're going to continue to persevere is by going through the struggle, which then allows you to persevere more and to continue doing it. Because if you don't have any struggle, then why? I mean, yeah, nothing matters.
Sorry, I'm not laughing.
No, I get it.
But you're absolutely right. It's like it's like a sanity workout.
Yeah, right.
Where you're building those sanity fibers, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, dude.
I was like, sometimes you just need to like hit some reps
Yeah.
on those
Yeah.
because
Just get a pump, bro.
yeah, you're just getting a sanity pump.
Get a sanity pump.
Could you imagine if you could like through the day something bad happens and you're like, it's okay.
Get a sanity pump.
I'm so strong, sane wise, it's unbelievable. I can handle all this shit.
Yeah, man. Like, all of it.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Yeah. Well, man, that's powerful verse, dude.
I love
I'm
it,
really
man.
glad you shared that. Yeah.
Because anything
It's
you
true.
do, anything you do, you can go through anything. And if you just think about that verse and the fact that you're going through this now, but you've been through stuff already and you're here. So that means that you're going to get through whatever you're going through and you'll be beyond whatever this bullshit is, you know, like it sucks. Fuck it. But
Right.
after it, what happens?
Yeah.
You know, that makes you it's
Stronger.
like you said, you're essentially there's nothing else you can be but stronger, you know. But if you sit here and suicide rates go up, you know, people are judging people more and more. But I feel like when you go through it, then you're like, it's almost like it almost also controls your judgment meter as well, you know, because then you see other people struggling, you're like, damn,
Yeah, I
what's
think
going on?
it gives you more empathy for people.
Empathy. Yeah.
I know with my life, and I've had plenty of great times. I'm not saying my life's horrible. Trust me, I have great times in my life, dude.
Yeah.
I have a great life. I'm very fortunate. You know, it's also come with hard work, but you know, someone put a quote up on Instagram. It's like this. I can't remember some page I follow with like quotes from writers and stuff like that. But this is a simple one that you guys have all heard. Calm seas never made a skilled sailor.
Yep.
Calm seas never made a skilled sailor.
Or surfer.
But just any trials and tribulations never made a strong person.
Right.
Or I'm sorry, makes a strong person.
Right, yeah.
You know, and I love hearing those quotes because it's always like it's just kind of like resets your mind.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
and sometimes it could be that simple. And and by the way too, like talking about this stuff, I'm very lucky, like as a person in general. You know, I have a great family, you know, great friends, good work. You know, I've been able to sustain and not to limit myself. I feel like I've worked my butt off to get the things that I've gotten. But I also feel like there was a lot of just fortunate opportunity within that as well.
I think you're blessed.
And 100%.
I want to change that word because lucky, it's like, oh, it just happened.
Oh yeah,
You know?
no.
But
I don't think it was
got those things, you know?
right.
And you
Very
were given that, dude. You're amazing.
Oh well, thanks.
Yeah.
man, I
People
appreciate
love
it.
you. I love you.
Oh well, I love you too, man,
Yes,
and
yeah.
I love you guys. You know
bro.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
I just when we talk about this, sometimes I feel like I'm not complaining, or I'm not trying to sound like I'm complaining at all. It's just the reality of life is we're all going to deal with problems, you know, and it's easy to sometimes fall within those problems and shell up.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that, and not that that's uncommon, and not that I haven't done the same thing, you know, and we're, you know, because we kind of bridged off of the suicide rates and things and hope. It's just the overall answer is to go through the issues that life has dealt you and find the avenues of success in hope, you know, in pursuing for that, or in pursuit of that. Sorry. And I just think that, and hopefully people listen. It's like the big takeaways, man, is like, no, you are not alone.
Yep.
People deal with shit every single day that maybe to you is worse or not as much, or maybe you are the example to someone else on how to get through that, you know. And I want to say that there was this freaking Instagram references, dude.
I love it.
I love it and hate it.
Dude,
Right.
Because
social media is like it's a love-hate relationship.
God, I shit on social media so much, but there's so many good takeaways too. It was, and it's a very simple video, and it was probably about a minute long, and it was just a clip of two guys, and like I think one guy, they sounded like Irish or something, so maybe it was out of the United States, or maybe it was here. I have no idea, but it was basically just like some crazy person was like screaming. And then they walk away, and this guy's standing next to this other dude that they don't know each other, and he just makes a comment like, "Oh, this fucking asshole" or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the guy just goes, "You don't know what that guy's going through.
Yeah.
Maybe today's the worst day of this guy's life, and you happen to be in it."
Yep.
You know? And he goes, "We all deal with shit. You know, he kind of rants for like 30 seconds, and it's very simple, but it is absolutely the truth.
So profound, probably, huh?
Yeah,
The moment.
100%. When I watched the video like 20 times, and I just like, it almost gave me goosebumps because I was just like, God, I want to be able to practice that perspective in my own life more.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think no one's perfect. We're all not going to be perfect. We're all going to have great days. We're all going to have the worst days of our lives up until that point. You know, but having the perspective, at least, or being empathetic towards other people in that, I think really makes you build, and it sets you up for success moving forward. Mm-hmm. You know, whether that success is in, you know, just being happy, mm-hmm. you know, or maybe just being rational, understanding, you know, because I mean, they all kind of coincide with each other, right. You know, so.
Right.
No, well, you guys are deep, dude.
We get deep, dude.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, we're going to wrap this up here. This is going to be a shorter one. But, you know, I also believe that we are at where we are in our lives for a purpose and for a reason. There's something that needs to be taken away or learned. That's my thought. And I remember I was, you know, I'm back on duty, back at work, doing her thing, running calls. And, you know, we have to be in a good headspace. So you're trying to like compartmentalize, and it's tough and do all this. I remember thinking, dude, I don't want to be here today. Like, I got so much going on. And, you know, we go on this call, and unfortunately this father had passed away. And they're an elderly couple. And the lady was so sweet. She was so nice. And I walked up to her, and I told the crew, I was like, hey, I'm gonna go tell her, break her the news. And I sat her down, and, you know, she was, of course, husband's gone. They've been married for like 40 plus years, this and that. And I just looked at her, and I could tell she was in pain. I just said, hey, you mind if I just pray with you right now? So I got down on one knee, and I put my hand on her hand, and she's like, wait, what? She's like, are you a Christian? I was like, I don't really say that. I say I'm a believer. It was funny. She's like, I would never would have thought that with all your tattoos. I was like, I was like, okay, I got you.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Like, easy there, boomer. I'm trying to help you out here. You know?
This is a good thing, okay?
Yeah. But, dude, I spent just 30 seconds. Quick prayer just for peace and hope. And her family was going to come. Her daughter's just going to be, you know, that whole thing. It gets very emotional. And I got done with her, and she's like, oh, my goodness. She's like, when I called 911, I prayed that someone could just be here with me and pray with me, you know? And it's taken, I remember thinking, like, I kind of cried with her a little bit, you know, and I didn't tell her like, hey, I'm going through some stuff too. But in that moment, I shared in her pain. And the best I could do is like, look, there's nothing we can do right now. And this is a terrible moment. And whether it's a young person or elderly, it's hard when someone's gone. It's so permanent. Yeah. But it's like, I remember thinking, I didn't even want to be there, right? I didn't want to be there. It's a hard moment. And the thought came in, just say a quick prayer with her, dude.
Yep.
You know, and that moment, was huge for her, right? And that's not to toot my horn at all, but you just don't know what your purpose is or what's going to happen that day that you're supposed to be there.
Yes.
Who knows?
Yes.
You don't, but it's like being aware of yourself and having the empathy and knowing that, hey, someone's going through a hard time right now. Let's just humble myself and put my feelings aside and just be here for this person. I don't even know I don't know her. It was a random person.
Yeah.
No.
Right? But we were leaving, and I remember she's like, oh, wait. She said my name. She's like, Fisher, come back in. Because I have her name on her freaking uniform. I hate it. But, and she could barely walk. She's like, come give me a hug. Mm-hmm. She's like, I'm so thankful for you. I hope I get to see you again someday.
Wow.
You know, and
wow.
that right there, that was, you know, it was so weird. It was like this moment when I was walking away, going back to our rig, and I was like, you know, everything's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Everything's going to be okay because everyone's suffering. Everyone's going through something, you know, and to be there with her, we did it together. It was such a good moment, dude, being at work. And, you know, it's like, I don't even want to be here, but I was supposed to be there for that moment. Yeah. To be there with her, you know? And I may look, I probably don't look like a normal person who's a believer, whatever you want to call it, or who believes in God and faith, because I'm covered in tattoos. I probably look super grumpy, right? Tired.
What is that? Yeah. What is that person?
Yeah.
You know?
We're going to edit that out real quick.
Right.
That has nothing to do with anything. I have tattoos too, Tim.
Well, be real though. That generation, that's their thing, right? Sure, my parents hate my tattoos.
For sure.
They're not
100% correct. If you go to any assisted living facility and if you're wearing anything where your tattoos are coming out, 80% give you kind of like a, are you here to help or not?
Right. Yeah.
But dude, I love hearing that because there's a handful of situations that I've done not recently, but in the past where, if you're the one either making the phone calls to family members, and this is FYI, if anyone doesn't understand how this works with the first responder or fire service, if you're there with someone who passes away, you have to get the ball rolling in the process of, contacting family members. Now you're telling people, and sometimes that could be from, maybe an expected death from an elderly person, or maybe a tragic experience that happened in the spot. And so it's more than just rendering aid to somebody. You gotta be able to talk to people in these circumstances that are the 100% worst days of their lives. Wow. And sometimes that is the most, in my opinion, I think one of the hardest parts of this job.
Oh my God, it's difficult.
Yeah, because especially when it's something that's not expected and it's just super sad, or you have the situation where you're talking, I've run those calls and have seen that, and to be there, and it puts you in a unique opportunity, because I feel like, honestly, most of the time that kind of stuff happens, it's on days where you're personally just not having a good day.
My
or
God,
there's always something,
yes, dude.
where it's like, you're like, I don't want to be here. I've been up for 2 days, or this happens. And you get on scene and then you realize it's like, okay, we can't do anything for this person. But then it's like, take a second, stop, look around, see what's going on. Sometimes you have multiple family members that are inside and you're seeing what they're going through in that moment, right? And you have the opportunity to try to impact them in what is a horrible situation. And I'm not saying but it's a positive direction within what you can do in that limited time. So being empathetic, being there for the people, to hearing about you, just taking a second and be like, hey, I want to pray with you. Or, and some, that's not for everybody.
No, right.
But in, you read the room, you know what you're getting yourself into, and sometimes, like, I've done it where I've made a phone call to someone to tell about their family member has just passed away, and then they're hysterical on the phone. And sometimes I'll just just give them a big hug, be like, hey, you know what, it's going to be okay. If there's anything we can do for you right now, we're here for you, this kind of stuff. Right. And it's not to toot our own horns in any way. It has nothing to do. It's like part of the job. Yeah. But it's like, I would do that if I wasn't at work and it was with someone that I don't know. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, because like those are these little things that you can do to help people out. And, I love hearing about that, because I feel like people can think whatever the hell they want to think about people. But at the end of the day, when you're in those moments, your true, your heart shows. You know what I mean? And where you're at. And I think that's really cool to hear. And I'm sure that really helped that woman out, in such a sad situation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not to say it's funny, but we, got an elevator. The captain was like, all right.
Well, not that the situation's funny, but it is one of those things, and like, we laugh about it because it's like, it just is what it is. But like, going back, because it happens on those days. Yeah. Everything that you just described inside, I'm already going,
yep,
you're absolutely right, dude. Like, it always seems to, it's like life always, it's like Jurassic Park, right? Life finds a way. But like, no matter what you're feeling and like going through and all this kind of stuff, you'll get these little blips, which I feel like that might, whether it's God or whether it's life or just the way the world works, you get these glimpses of like, holy shit, dude, like, life is hard on everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And do I want to be rich? Hell yeah. But we all would, bro. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like the appreciation, being empathetic to people, being open, going back to the 3 C's, baby. I'm not going to repeat them, but community is the one that stands out. The community, connection, and conversation?
Community, connection, communication.
Communication. Okay.
There you go. That was random.
We're gonna make a T-shirt. Dude.
Yeah, right.
It's gonna be Sam's 3 C's.
Hey, baby. What I love about what you said.
Sam's 3 C's. Someone's gonna mess with that and turn it all gross or nasty or perverted.
Right.
But that's also funny.
Exactly, bro. I love the fact that you can do that, and you guys don't have to be the same religion, the same color, the same gender. You could go up to anybody and just say, "Hey, I want to pray with you," and prayer means something different to everyone. Mm-hmm. And then you doing that's for them, of course. But then you're almost connecting with them, and they don't even know what you're going through. Right. But by you just praying, that's almost because I mean, just praying is putting hope into
put it out in the atmosphere. Oh yeah,
right. So you're doing that for you, and her.
You're right, same time. Dude. You're right, because after I was down. I remember. I'll be real with you guys. I was nervous when I said that. I'm like, whoa, why did I say that?
Why did I say that?
Exactly. Dude, 100%. When you said it, I was like, how'd it go?
Well, yeah.
This could go any which way.
You have no idea.
Yeah, because there's there's staff in the room and this and that. But dude, I remember I thought, why did I do that? And I just took one knee and did it. But I can't explain it. In its own way, it was also healing for me.
You're right.
I don't even know how,
Right.
or why, but it brought a different peace, and the rest of the day was so smooth.
Right.
I wasn't hurting as much. I wasn't as bummed. It was that moment where it's like, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be at right now. As much as this sucks right now, and there's a lot going on, there's loss, family's hurting, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And I was able to connect with this woman who's probably in her 80s. I'll never see her again. Next life I will. But in that moment, that's what she needed. And it's stepping out of your comfort zone. It's stepping out of your pain, entering somebody else's, but you're still sharing it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, because you bring yours back up.
Right.
And then it's almost like you resurrect the whatever healing didn't happen.
No.
Or whatever healing you're continuing to go through.
Yeah.
So yeah, love that, dude.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here today. It's a shorter episode. Totally fine. I just wanted to kind of hit on that because there's so much going on. Just around the world, in America, lives, there's a lot of people who, there's so many things in question. Economy is going down. The government's crazy. That's a whole other topic. We'll dive into
Next episode.
Yeah, next episode. But
Stay tuned.
dude, I want to end this, Sam. Can you just say that verse one more time that you said?
It's James 1:2. Count it all joy when you face trials, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And let perseverance have its perfect work in your life. So basically, just keep pursuing, because that's basically what keeps you pursuing everything else that you do. And then that's how your life is solidified more and more.
Beautiful.
Love it, dude.
Love it.
I love it, man.
Yeah, baby.
Everybody out there, keep the hope, baby. Better days are coming no matter what. Let's go on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Let's go.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for listening in. If you liked what you just listened to, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Please follow us on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook. And a big shout out to Stephen Clark, our sound editor. He's a huge part of this team that is unseen. It's 89 Barbers, our first sponsor. Look good, feel good, be great. That's 2 locations, Orange, California, and Long Beach, California. Book your appointment online, 89barbers.com. Bye, everybody.